Hi, everybody. How you doing? Let me see. Hold on a second. All right. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you guys coming today. I'm excited to share with you just more tips and advice that I had been dealing with as a freelancer for the last 15, 20 years. And I'm the type of person that really likes to analyze things and test things. And if something doesn't work good the first time, then I make a change. I'm always pushing the envelope and trying to progress and do better and better and get faster results. And so I really am excited to be able to share this with you. And I've been doing freelancing. Okay, I'm going to wait a few more minutes too, just to kind of wait. Meanwhile, thank you so much for coming. And while we're here, maybe you can just introduce yourself in the chat. Just leave your name and tell me a little bit about what type of skill you have as a freelancer. What do you specialize in? That'd be great. I started off as a freelancer way back when I was in Fiverr, and I was in Fiverr. I had a business in fitness and yoga. And so I decided that I wanted to market that. And this was like 20 years ago. And Ruho, let me know when I should start talking about the lecture. Okay. So just text me in the group. But anyhow, so on Fiverr, almost 20 years ago, I just I found just a great team of people, so many talented people that once we got my business up and running in fitness and in yoga, I just couldn't let them go. And also, I really saw how video animation was really popular. And there was just it was really I had a lot of videos myself, so that I was building with my company, and it was so hard to find talented video artists back then. So then I just decided I'm going to go ahead and learn video animation myself and jump on board with the whole freelancing production. And because I really love the idea of working online, and so and being able to work out of my home. And so that's how this all started for me. The experience of running my own business back in um, 2000, and then moving into freelancing and having that great experience as a freelancer to work worldwide with a wonderful team that I had during that time. And many of them are still with me today after that long of time. We are doing great things. So, anyhow, let's go ahead and get started. And today I'm really excited that you're here. I have something really great to teach about. We're going to be working with ChatGPT today. I've kind of been teaching that a little bit over the past few months. I just find there's so much advantage of learning ChatGPT as a freelancer that, especially being that we work alone, that we can now get feedback with ChatGPT and help us improve. So before we even start, I just want to make sure that in my last meeting that I had, I talked about, or the first one I had on my live stream, I had a lesson of how to put your skills, your talents, your experience in ChatGPT as a library. So that way, all that information is stored. And so you grab information from your website, you can grab information from your Fiverr platform and Upwork and pack it in there because you're going to be retrieving that information time and time again as you are working on your chat. You're going to see that a lot of information will pop up when you're working with ChatGPT to either write a proposal or to do some research or write a letter. It all comes together. So it's important to make sure you have all your information, even samples of your work can go in there. So take a look at my first live stream that I did a couple of months ago, and you can watch that and be able to learn. So let's go ahead and jump into the lesson. I'm going to jump right over here and share my screen. And okay, so I'm going to get this out of the way. And we're going to go right into the very beginning, right up here. And is use ChatGPT for effective client communication. And as you know, one thing, we're limited when we are selling something. We don't have the luxury of meeting someone down the street. We have to really rely on how we communicate to a client online. And sometimes it's just texting back and forth, on Upwork or Fiverr, and you're not meeting them. So it's so important that you're very careful in what you say and don't say. And so today, I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to help you perfect your ability to be able to communicate effectively and win the client over. Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to win their heart and get them to want to meet us or want to hire us. But it's all a psychology and an experience that's going to pull them in. And so being that I've been doing it a long time. Um, I just really been able to figure out, usually any meeting I go into, especially in Upwork, any meeting I go into, I 99 of the time, 99% of the time, I win the job. And it's just a matter of me knowing how to pull these people in. So, before I start with that, I just want to mention too that while you're in the meeting, if you have any questions, feel free to post them here on whatever platform you're on. I know this is live streaming in a few places, so please post your questions there, and I'll be able to answer them either during the meeting or afterwards. So let me ask you this first question, and I would love to hear from you. I want this to be an interactive meeting, not just me talking the whole time. I want to hear from you so that I can understand what, struggles we're having today, starting off as a freelancer. Or maybe you've been with it for a while and you're just being discouraged. So let's talk about that. So my first question is, how many of you get nervous before taking on a new client? Before you go into that meeting, how many get a little bit of butterflies and anxious before going into that meeting? And you can go ahead and just post that right in the chat below, wherever you're at. And I'll give you a few minutes. I could tell you that I definitely have that. Even today, there's time because you don't really know the person you're going to be meeting. You don't know what type of questions that they're going to ask. And, maybe they're frustrated. Maybe they've gone to so many freelancers and talked to so many of them that they're just getting irritated. And so I'm going to yeah, I never know, if when I meet them, what kind of mood they're going to be in. So it's just natural to be a little bit anticipating and meeting somebody for the first time on Zoom. So let's continue. I'll continue on. Do I continue, Rohel, or do I? Okay, I'm going to continue on. Let's go on to why client communication matters. Most freelancers lose clients because of poor communication. And it definitely needed to get to the point. And I'm going to show you some samples of poor communication when you're doing an interview. So some things are over explaining things. You get too wordy, you're just too anxious, and you're being able to you only get a certain amount of time. You're maybe the 10th person that they are interviewing, so they're kind of exhausted and don't want to have long conversation. They just want to have their questions answered. And so being able to communicate to them very specific like this is really important. Talking about not just the features of what you can do, but talking about the results that you have with your past clients. So we're going to be talking about a client named John who has a car washing business. And so knowing that ahead of time, because I studied the job and I looked at the job proposal or the job instructions. So I kind of know. So right off the bat, I would talk right into. I had a client that had a local business, and this is what I did, and this is how I built their website, and this is the result they got. It's high functioning. People are signing up. The people are able to reserve reservations. People are getting response. Just the call to action is very clear and accurate. All those type of things are relatable to the client, and so it's really important that you have that in your mindset before you go in the meeting. That you're only going to talk about what they can relate to. And then the next thing is freezing at abduction. So there's so many times you get in a conversation with the client and they ask a question you're not ready for, and then you get you freeze up. And so we're going to be able to show you with this process of using ChatGPT to be able to be prepared. So let me ask you this question. Here I have, what is the hardest part for you when talking to a client? Is it explaining what you do? Is it talking about your pricing? Or is it building trust? Of the three things, if you were to have just 10 minutes in that meeting, what would be the thing that's the most challenging for you? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Everyone gets nervous before a meeting. Thank you for competent and symptom. Thank you for sharing that. I find too being anxious before a meeting, and I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm still, you never know when you're going in that Zoom meeting and you don't see the screen is not up yet, you don't see them. You don't know whether you're going to get somebody that has been doing this for years and they know what they're looking for and they're going to rip you apart. You don't know if you're going to get that or if you're going to get somebody that just, does it as a part-time job and, they're just more patient and, they're not driven. So I've had both. But what I really try to do is just I think that whenever I'm getting ready for a meeting, it's probably going to be because most of them are they have another job, they're doing this as a hobby, they're not really difficult to work with, and so I kind of have that in my mindset that that's mostly what I'm going to be meeting, who I'm going to meet. But periodically that changes. But even then, I'm able to uh, you know shift gears and be able to accommodate whatever type of client I have. And so that's why this role playing that I'm going to teach you today is so good because it's going to help you be prepared ahead of time of any trick questions they may ask. Okay, let's see here. Okay, definitely pricing too. I know. Let me see here. Ahmed had mentioned pricing. I'm going to give you some really tips on pricing because that's definitely a challenge. And I've learned a hard lesson over a long period of time as to how to handle pricing. So let's go ahead and continue on. And we're going to go down here. I'm going to minimize this. Okay, we're going into, let me see here on slide 4. Okay. So let's talk about the solution. And this is what we're going to be talking about and doing today is I'm going to demonstrate to you the solution, how we can use ChatGPT to help you narrow down what you're going to be talking about in the meeting, how you're going to answer the client in the meeting, and be prepared for questions that you maybe were not ready for. The beautiful thing about this is it's role playing. So your defense is down. And as we all know, when we're anxious about something, we can't think. we kind of shut down our brain. We kind of go in this, deer in a headlight type of a thing. We just go into that, frightful mode. And so being able to work that through with ChatGPT in your role play really helped to iron that out. And you'll see that if you just keep playing with ChatGPT, because it's going to give you critique, it's going to tell you how you're doing. And sometimes it hurts. And so you're already going to get, you know, uh, someone critiquing you. And so that's the beautiful thing about the role playing is it's realistic in that way. And so you can just keep practicing the chat GPT till you get good. And so there's just so many great experiences with that. Let's see here. So definitely you're getting answered back while you're testing yourself. So here's my next question and for you is who here, okay, so I actually go ahead, oops, wait a minute. Okay. Who has ever practiced a client pitch out loud before a real meeting? Has anybody started kind of in your mind, get ready to answer the client questions ahead of time? Maybe you did your research so that way when you go into the meeting, you're more prepared. Let me know if you've been able to, if you kind of already see the importance of doing your prep work. Okay, we got all of them. Yep. Kabat, thank you, all of them. You're talking about just what challenges you find when you're in a meeting, and so that's what we're going to go through today. We're going to try to cover those out and make and be better prepared. Okay, so anything on this last question that I just asked for number 4? Who had ever practiced a pitch out loud before the real meeting? If you can share that a little bit. Let's see here. Um, I'll give you a few more minutes to nudge. I mean, Rahul, let me know if you got anything there. Otherwise, we'll move on. Okay. Normally we didn't do that. Okay, yeah. Okay. Two hin, right? That's okay. This will give you the beautiful thing about this too with ChatGPT is that it has all your information. You uploaded everything about yourself, everything about your business, everything about your experience, everything about the clients you worked with, your target audience. So it helped with all of that. And so once you got that all in there, when you're doing role playing, it's going to pull up information about you, and so the answer it's going to give you is very specific to you yourself and your business. And if you don't have enough information in there, if you need more, you can work with ChatGPT to pull that out. Just put bullet points about everything that you're doing, and then just upload it into ChatGPT, and it will still store all of that, and will constantly bring it out when you're trying to, work on a proposal or working on your business. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So this is the solution to be able to be more effective when you're in a meeting. And we're going to show you that today. All right, so the framework. I'm going to share with you the framework as to how to work with ChatGPT to be able to get the results you want. And it's a lot of fun. So the framework is there's 5-step ChatGPT practice method. The first one is to define the client persona, which you can get off of Upwork or Fiverr. And the beautiful thing about it is that even when you don't have a client, you can still go on Upwork or go on Fiverr, pull out everything about that client, everything that they're requesting for, they're looking for. You want to grab that information from them, and you can use that information. And it could even be somebody that that's not interviewing. If you just go on Upwork and search for people that are searching to hire, you can go to the website section, and you've got tons of people that are looking to hire website designers, and you're going to see the entire job description, and you can grab that and put that in your chat gpt to practice. So then you're going to paste it in your role play prompt in your chat gpt, and then you can have 6 to 8 back and forth exchange, or if you want less you can do that too. I'm just telling you right now the steps I'm going to go through, and I'm going to give you a live demonstration of it on my chat gpt. So I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of heads up on this. The next one is to switch to feedback uh, to mode for scoring and tips, so you can have them grade you and rate you, on the different strengths and weaknesses that you have that you need to improve. And then you just repeat that and you keep doing it until you get better and better at it, till you get a higher, more positive review from ChatGPT. So this is just a great way to build that role playing. So let me ask you this question. Would you like me to send you this entire prompt outline on whatever platform you're on? We're gonna put it on Facebook actually in my private group. So go ahead and give me a thumbs up or say yes if you would like me to send this over to you. And I have a beautiful template set up for that. Okay, thank you so much. All right, let's go ahead. And again, thank you for all your questions. While I'm talking, I'm looking at them and I'll get to them as I'm moving along. I'm really excited to share this with you. And so we'll just keep moving along here. Now I'm going to go into the live stream. Let me go ahead and step that up. Okay. Okay. So here is my my chat GPT, and I'm going to explain to you how I went about this. First of all, I'm giving instruction to my chat GPT. I'm saying you are now role playing a real client, specific client whose name is John, and to remain fully in the character until the conversation reaches a natural close. Your job is to test the freelancer client communication skill. So I'm already giving this my ChatGPT a role to play, and it is really cool how it will definitely follow that and stay with you from the beginning to the end. From there, I go ahead and I grab any information I have on the client, on the job description. Again, you can get that all on Upwork, and even Fiverr will have that. Sometimes what I'll do if I need more information from a client, I send over a form to them, and this form is very it has no way of anybody being able to contact you because Upwork is really fussy about that. So I make sure that it's a very basic form, like it can be a Google form, and then this way I can get that information, or I can even type out my question in the chat on Upwork or Fiverr, just to kind of pull out a little bit more information from them. A lot of times, just even getting their website would be enough to be able to put that into the chat would be very helpful. But you have to copy all the content off of the web page and put it in a document, and then you upload that document to chat so that way it can grab the information. So anyhow, going back, we're going into here, sending the information here. The client is a small business owner running a local car wash, want a professional website to attract more local clients, company size. So it's giving me a little bit of detail about their business and about the budget they have. Key priority is they want simple professional website to show services and pricing, allowing the customers to book online. So that's a feature right there. That's a functionality to keep in mind of. Communication styles. I'm kind of letting chat know what type of style I want, and that most clients are very cautious about what they're going to have to spend. So I mentioned that in the chat here as a prompt. Okay, so now last but not least, I am sending ChatGPT the role play instructions. So here I'm telling ChatGPT exactly how I want them to communicate to me on this process of role playing. and that is asking for three short discovery questions, and then going into to understand the freelancer and how they function, how they approach the business, as far as how they build the website. And then after discovery, challenge the freelancer with one realistic objection. So I kind of wanted to throw in some challenge. Expect clear answers and ask follow-up questions. Simulate a busy small business owner with limited patience. After roughly 6 to 8 exchanges, or more or less, whatever you want, you move to close. State whether you would A, proceed, B, need more information, or C, you're not ready. So I'm giving, I want ChatGPT to tell me, and after the interview, what they think, ChatGPT think, how the client would want to proceed. So this kind of giving me a little bit of insight. And then number five, immediately after, switch to feedback mode, uh, to not the client, but a feedback at ChatGPT, reviewing the whole conversation that I had with the client, giving me a score, giving me five concrete improvements, and also a follow-up message that I can send to the client. So that's just the whole setup of the prompt, and I will go ahead and you'll have access to this. So I just wanted to share that with you, so that way you kind of know. Okay, let's move on to this. And I went ahead and I put that in there, and then here ChatGPT responded, and it came with this question. Now that ChatGPT is done, and it says, "Hi there, thanks for taking the time. Before we talk numbers, I've got a few quick questions. Have you designed websites for other local service businesses before? How do you usually make sure the website actually brings in more customers and not just look nice? And how quickly can you get something like this done for me?" Now, those are very good questions and very common questions that I get all the time when I'm going on an interview for a website. So I went ahead and I just kind of minimized my answer because I don't, I'm going to be able to, I'm kind of a little, what is it? I'm not trying to be 100% accurate here. I just want to be able to, because I'm testing it and I'm showing you. So that way I can see kind of the feedback it would give me. If I were to do a sloppy job, how would ChatGPT respond to that? So here I have my answers. And it's number one, have you designed, okay, that's the question, have you designed a website for local services? And I said, yes, I did. I built many businesses and sites over the years. My husband runs a local service business, so I know what works, and I'd love to highlight what makes your car wash stand out. So just the fact of me telling them an experience I have that my husband has a local business, let him know that I understand his pain points. I understand his dilemma. I understand what's important in building a site that is local. So that's kind of giving me a brownie point there. So if you have anything that you can relate to a client right off the bat, it's very impressive and very helpful as a hook. Now, for the second question, how do you usually make sure the website brings in more customers? Is that I focus on local SEO and clear call to action so people find you when they search for car wash near me, which is common that most people do that. The site will look great and help convert visitors to customers. So here's my response again to John. And then the third one was, how quickly can I deliver? I can send a free mock-up 1 or 2 days. If you like it, we'll launch the main page and then quickly add the extra pages in phases. So mainly what I try to do is just ask the client, how soon do you need it? Let's see what John has to say, ChatGPT, from my answers. Okay, that sounds good. Here's my concern though. I've talked to a few designers and their quotes are all over the place. Some say they do it for 600, some for 2,000. I don't want to overspend. What would be your price range for a straightforward site with service pricing and booking option? So here I went into replying to him and just kind of being a little sloppy just to kind of test it out. I said, well, the pricing really depends. I mean, I've done websites anywhere from 500 to 5,000. So it's kind of hard to say without seeing more from you. Well, I can tell you right now, a client would not want to hear that. Honestly, other designers might be cheaper, but you get what you pay for, right? Oh, this is so bad. I've been doing this a long time, so I usually go with what feels fair for the time and for the amount of time it takes me. Maybe around 1,500 or maybe more. Not sure. Okay. Also, the booking featured might be tricky, so that could cost extra. So as you can see, this reply is pretty scary, but let's go ahead and continue on. I would like to see how ChatGPT handled it as a client, John. I hear you, but honestly, that's not there. That feels vague to me. I'm running a small business here, and I need to know upfront what I'm looking for, and that's pretty much a typical client would respond. They don't put up with uncertainties. They want clarity, especially if they're a business owner. They're very savvy and want professionalism. If you're saying that it might be 1,500 or maybe more, that makes me nervous. Why should I pay you more when someone else is quoting 800? So that's a legitimate question, and I didn't answer that right. Here is my last reply. Well, websites are kind of like cars. Some are basic and some are luxury. So it really depends on what you want. I built a lot of nice ones and I put a lot of time in making them to look professional. $800 might get you something simple, but I usually don't like to work at that low price because I know my work is worth more. And I spend time on details like the colors and the fonts, which really matter. Honestly, I can't really say a fixed price until I see your pictures, logos, and all that you have, or that would measure up to 1,500 and maybe more. But I promise I will look really good. So you can see this vague conversation of the budget is just not going to fly. But I just wanted to again see how ChatGPT responds to this. Okay, so here's the client, and he's saying, "All right, I think I've had enough from you for now, and so I'm going to say, see, I am not ready. The pricing feels too uncertain, and I need a clearer estimate before moving forward." All right, now ChatGPT is switching to out of the role. It's now giving me its own feedback. So the verdict. You came across experience, but your answers on pricing and ROI were not clear enough to build trust. Scores are listening is 6, questioning 5, clarity 4, handling objections with 3 out of 10, so that's pretty bad. Confidence is 6, value framing 5, and closing 4. So you could see that's a pretty accurate reading. If not even could be lower, but you could see it's going to be honest in giving you a good feedback on how you are communicating with the client. So now it's giving you 5 feedback of improvement, and I requested for that in my prompt, and it's telling us to give a ballpark range. A ballpark range is always good. That way, the client, you're not set on one price. If you find that you're spending more time on a project, you have that breathing room. Also, it ties value to result, not just look. This isn't just about design. It's about getting more people to book washes online so you save time on the phone. So that would be a good line to say in the meeting. Handle prices objection directly. The 800 option might cover template. My work adds local SEO and booking systems that actually work smoothly, which pays back quickly in customers' growth. Reassure about the scope creep. I'll give you a fixed project quote so that no surprises. Everything we discuss will be included in last close with confidence. If this sounds fair, I can draft a simple proposal with the exact cost and timeline today. Would you like that? So I can say just from the pricing aspect, you can see that was quite messy. And from my experience, I really avoid in a meeting, the first meeting, especially given a quote, I immediately go to them and say, what is your amount? How much is your budget? And then I will work with that. I just kind of leave it like that because I don't know if 5 or 10 people that he met prior to me had quoted really low, like he said they were, and I don't want to quote myself out. If I'm a dollar over from what the others are saying, then I'm out. He will not come back to me because I have nothing to show. I haven't shared anything with him yet, except my experience. But I need more than that. That's why I like to do the template. I like to do a mock-up, and I give it to them for free, so that way they can see they got something in their hands, and then after I work with them and talk to them and build this mock-up, I understand, what they really want, and then I can give them a quote, and we're both more confident. I know my assignment, and he sees my work. So that's just something, a little tip about a way to go in handling the budget when a client is wanting you to give them a price. So let's go ahead and move on to the next. I'm going to ask you this question. So if a client said the price is too high, how would you respond? I'd like to know some of your answers so we can kind of compare our notes as to what works and what doesn't. I've given you a few samples here. Okay. I'm going to give you a few minutes to answer. What are some of the answers that you've given in the past that had worked for you? Yes, I see from Captain that yes, it had a memory saving feature. And a couple of months ago, let me see here, in August, I think, I did a live stream and I talked all about how to save your content of everything about yourself and your business. So that way it is in memory, and that I even have ChatGPT organize my memory. So that way it's easy to retrieve, and we'll be able to answer a lot of questions on a client when I'm doing my role play. So it really does come in handy, and I highly recommend you to do that. Okay, let's see here. All right, just a minute. I'm taking a look at a question here. Mm, or a comment for that matter. Okay, if I let me move on. If I'm checking my phone for any comments, so just go ahead and leave them and I'll get them. All right, let's move on. So as you can see, so ChatGPT gave me its feedback, and then here's the follow-up message that I asked for, and it said, "Thanks for the chat." Uh, yeah, this is me sending to the client, John, after the meeting. Thanks for the chat. I'd love to send you a fixed proposal, 1,000 to 1,200 for design booking within a 2-week launch. Interested? But you can see, most likely he had already moved on. We don't know. It just kind of depends. But if your samples are really good, you may have saved it. Him being and when I say sample, I mean sending websites that are for local businesses, because that's what he's interested in, and that's what he mentioned right at the beginning. Okay, so let's go. I'm gonna get out of here and just oh yeah, move back into go back into here. So let's move on down. So to recap what we just learned about today is communication is the key to winning a client. And I think, if you keep practicing on ChatGPT, it's really good. You can even tell ChatGPT, say this is a woman that is, running a hair salon, and fashion is way up there. You can look at her site and see what kind of site they have, see what's important to them. Maybe it has to do with nails or hair coloring or whatever, and kind of emphasize the chat GPT, the personality of the client, and then ask chat GPT, what are some questions that this person would ask, if they're looking to hire for a website job. So, what type of questions do you, would be a common question for these type of clients? So, ChatGPT will come up with this type of stuff. It just play around with it. Okay, I've got from again Compton. I believe the price is fair. I would try my best to convince them and not expensive. That is not. However, I find that price is too much. I would lower it down. All right. Well, the thing is thank you for being honest and for sharing that with me. And that's definitely true. But let me tell you something from my experience. This you have this is your first time meeting the client and you haven't proven anything yet. And so by knuckling down on a price, it's just talking yourself right out of a job. What would be better is that you say, if you're okay with the ballpark that he's saying, then just go with it. And then after you make up the mock-up, make a mock-up or something and get started, then immediately after that, you say, okay, now that I've got a better feel for this, and plus the fact now that they've been waiting for you and they're looking at your work, that's when you could consider, saying, would you be open to this price? But in order for them to give in, and agreeing with a price or an offer, you have to give back to them first. We have to give back to them first as freelancers. It's not fair, but it's just the way it is because we've got 100 other freelancers trying for the same job. So who am I that he's going to, the client's going to favor me? So it's really important. The only way a client's going to favor me is if I can convince him, and win him over that he likes me. And he's not going to like me within the first 15 minutes in a meeting. He's going to like me more when he gets to know me. And to get to know me is when I'm building something, even a simple sample is a start. So just keep that in mind. All right, so moving on down to let's recap. Uh, Communication is the key. You can role play as a client so you can practice safely. So you don't have any anxiety when you're doing role playing. You're able to be relaxed and be able to really analyze what you're saying and is it accurate and how you're saying it. You can critique yourself. The pressure's off. The framework is simple. You define the persona. You ask to do the role play. Then you get the feedback and then you improve yourself. So it's a step-by-step process. And you just saw a live demo with John on the car wash business. And so here was a whole sample that I shared with you on how to do this effectively. Let me go in and see if I got another question. Okay, so what is one thing you'll change from just this meeting and talking about today? Hopefully, it kind of opened up your eyes a little bit and the ability to kind of practice improving your interaction with the clients. And I can tell you, I have helped many clients, many freelancers with this. One freelancer really got the hang of it because she was doing a lot of interviewing, and so every time she got ready for a new project and had all the descriptions of the job, she was always very prepared. And each meeting that she had, she just got better and better at it, and then she won the job. And it was a very very big job, and so if you just keep practicing it and kind of using it to fine tune your skills, it would definitely pay off. You'll see a huge difference. So, if anybody here have any questions, or let me see here, anybody here? Let's see. Where is it? Okay, okay. So Let me see here. Would you, okay, no, I'm going in there. Any, that's okay. I'm just checking over my notes. Let me see. Let's see here. Wouldn't the portfolio help? Okay. Okay, Captain, thank you. Okay, wouldn't the portfolio help a bit for the first time client to view what I'm capable of? Um, that's a good question. Thank you for asking that. We have a great portfolio, and if I think I shared with in the past, when I send over samples of my work, I specifically only send like 3 samples, and I make sure that it's related to the job. And so, yeah, that will help definitely. But still, how do you know if the 20 or 15 other people that have been bidding on the job also have sensational portfolio? It, you have to see the whole picture. You have to, the best way sometimes for you to really understand what a business owner, a client goes through is for you yourself to hire somebody on Upwork. You should just go right on Upwork and write out a job, something. It can be even simple as a logo, and watch what happens. You'll get so many people bidding on it, and then all these different pricings, and some of the proposals are really great, and 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 you'll just see how that all works, and it helps you to understand that you're up against a lot of competition. And so, to think that, my portfolio would do the job, or that I deserve to have this type of, I deserve to get paid for this kind of work. I don't go that way because it that I'm many other freelancers are thinking the same way. So this way, I have to remember, I have to give them something in order for them to give me something back. And for that, I give them a free demo. So that's kind of how I do it. Now, if they've been with me for a while, I don't have to do a free demo. They know my work. So that's something to think about. Okay, any other questions? Feel free to share here. It, I hope this has been helpful. Anybody that had comments on what we talked about today? And do you think that you'll use this? Let me know if you think you'll use it. How do you think this could be helpful for you? You could even ask ChatGPT to ask, challenging questions. So this way you can really kind of um, be ready when you go for that interview, that you can handle a client that is on a rush and impatient, and you'll be ready for that. Great. Okay, let's finish up here. I really appreciate you coming today. I'm glad to be sharing this. I'm telling you, this stuff works. I've been doing this a long time as far as, just communicating to clients online in Upwork and Fiverr. But having ChatGPT has definitely been a game changer in helping me to be able to really narrow down specific um, thing to say and not to say. And I just love the critiquing, because it's really cool to be able to have to get a critique and not be on the defense, to really know that it's genuine and it makes a lot of sense. So please follow me on my Facebook group. You can sign up there. I have my template there that you can be able to retrieve on the prompt of today's lesson. And then also follow my Facebook page and visit my website, coachbycolette.com. If you go there, I have my course. I have a course up there, and lots of videos. Let me go ahead and check on another question. What are the chances of someone new who just got into freelancing on Upwork to succeed? Yeah. Well, you have you have a good chance. It's just how you play the game. You have to, you know, first of all, pick a niche and something specific. Make sure you got great samples. And if you're not, compare yourself with your competitors. Go on Fiverr. You're going to see a lot of competitors there. See what they're doing. Fine tune your unique look. and package it really nice. Make sure that it's on a real nice display. Get that on Upwork, and then just kind of stick with staying with the niche until you can really pull somebody in and start getting reviews. So it is possible, but you have to be flexible and you have to be willing to lower your price down real low. Because right now it's really not about making the money; it's about getting established. So you have to be willing to, you know, very, very low price, maybe $50, something to get a review. So something like that could that's all gonna practice too. You get a lot of practice that way. And fiber is nice because it's easier to get into, and then you can practice there. Practice the communication, practice what is your soft spot as far as the sweet price. That only comes in time as you know and what type of price you can ask for. Because if you go over, they don't respond to you. If you go under, you're overworked, and you know it's just not worth your time. So you got to find that sweet spot. So get the practice in there, and then you'll do fine. Okay, let me see. As a graphic designer, how to show my portfolio in a better way? That's a good question. Take a look on my Upwork. I professionally had my portfolio displayed really nice, really professional. Most people, will just scroll over, your offer, your bid on Upwork. They don't really investigate. So you don't have to be too cautious about getting into all the files. You know how you have to click and go click again to look at the portfolio. Look how my portfolio is just right out in the front, right underneath my name. There's no clicking necessary. Take a look at that and put that out there. And also decide who's your target audience. If you have a specific niche, make sure you're showing that in your portfolio on Upwork. Um, so that's usually how I do it. It's the quickest way. Once I get them in and they hire me, then on my website I got beautiful samples. I got a whole library of samples, and so then I can go ahead and share them links to look at everything. So, but for now, you have to make sure Upwork work the best you can, or Fiverr for that matter. And so, consider that. Okay. Any other questions? Let me see. Okay. I think that's it. So, okay. So please join my group. I've got a surprise coming next month that I'm going to be sharing. I'm really excited to share this with the group. And I think you're going to like it a lot. So I'm not going to say anything yet because it's right finishing up in the works and I want to make sure it's all ready. But but please join my group and I'll keep you updates on that. Ruhal, okay. So anyhow, thank you so much for your time, and I'm really excited to work with you and helping you progress where you need to go in your life as a freelancer. And until next time, be freelantastic.